Hello and welcome to episode 82 of the Youth Intake Challenge. It's a little while coming, this one. I haven't had the time to get around to it, but let's get into it. We've got the latest Youth Intake. We've got an update on where we are in the season. Things are going good, and let's see. And as always, we will start with the competitions. In the Premier League, we are currently 8th on 45 points. We've got a game in hand on 6th place Man City, so we can get within 3 points and maybe challenge for one of them European spots. It has been going a lot better in the second half of the season. You can just make out in the little positional chart at the top. After what was quite a good start, we were quite high. We've kind of faded off a little bit as we've tried to develop into the new tactic. We've since gone back to the holding midfielder. It's worked well for us, and we've climbed up the table somewhat. So that's something we'll go through in the tactics section. I think we're not quite good enough to go the front four yet. We still got to have the front three with a kind of solid, more solid defensive midfield type. But the results are working for us. In terms of the Europa League, we've got Juventus in the round of 16. Currently 4-2 down going into the second leg. I think if we'd have picked any other team out of that, we'd have probably been all right. We've picked probably the worst one out of them. We've got to overcome a 2-goal deficit, but that game's to come in the future. Hopefully we can muster up something for that. I'm not sure. I think they were quite a good team when we played them in the first leg. And we'll see what happens in the second leg. FA Cup, we got all the way to the quarter-final. Newcastle knocked us out. Again, not the worst result in the world. Knocked out by one of the better teams in terms of the league positions. But yeah, it's still a bit disappointing because that took us out the last domestic cup competition we were in. We got beaten in the Carabao Cup, third round by Chelsea. We seem to play every year. And then the Community Shield, we came runner-up in that as well. So competition-wise, not the best in the world. In terms of development centre, a couple players recommended. So to Jay Rivers, he's come back from his loan spell, recommended to maybe be included as part of that first team squad. We haven't yet. We've kept it at a 25-man squad. We have made some transfers, which we'll cover shortly. But in terms of developing the squad, I think we're really shaping up quite nicely. We've got a very, very strong first 25-man squad with a couple of young players coming through in that as well. So that's all going pretty good. Finance-wise, 395 million. No danger of running out of money anytime soon. Transfer budget's whopping. What we might do is when we get to the end of the save, and I'm thinking it might well be the end of this season, depending on how it goes, is we might just have a season after where we spend the whole transfer budget and see what we can make from the money we've got. Again, let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see what we can do with a whopping war chest transfer budget. In terms of the club vision, commercial revenue through transfers is disappointed. Spend the original transfer budget is disappointed. Everything else is going really well. Best youth system in the world, Europa League proper, established Premier League, and all the other stuff. So that's going very well. We've recovered the defensively solid football through the tactic change. So in terms of the board feedback and culture, all that is going really, really well. Which again is fantastic. That's what you want. In terms of the affiliates, we have snuck a couple more in here, I think. So Elversberg, I think, is one of the new ones. Huachipicho from Chile, and I think we did get Israeli Maccabi Netanya as well. So we're just constantly increasing what we've got in terms of the affiliates. Hopefully that transfers into a more diverse youth intake as it comes through, which we'll get to later on in the episode. In terms of the transfers, it's only transfers out we need to worry about. Some of the ones that were moved on, so Roldan and that have all moved on, as you've previously seen. Maybe some of the ones that you haven't seen, if I can pick them out of this veritable feast of players. Is Silverio's gone, Tom Houghton, he's gone on loan with a view for a sale, and I think Luke Lynch as well has gone with a view to a sale. Lippman might as well be with a view to a sale. So we've let a few of them squad players go, drift out of the squad. It gives us room to replace them with some of the youngsters coming through. In terms of the schedule, again, you can probably see here, we started the season with a lot of promise, thinking we're going to get a lot more goals by playing the front four as opposed to a front three, and we were getting goals. We were having a 3-3 draw, 4-4 draw, but we weren't winning more than we were losing, and the results in the Premier League were not up to par. We'd had losses to West Ham, to Arsenal, to Chelsea. We'd had that little blip we've seen previously where the goalkeepers were both injured, getting a 6-0 loss at Newcastle and Man City. We then changed the formation, went back a bit more defensively minded, ground out a whole load of draws and wins, went on quite a long, sustained, unbeaten run, which has pulled us up the table. We have slipped to a couple of defeats here and there, so we had a 5-2 defeat at home to Nottingham Forest, and a 5-1 defeat to Arsenal. But in and around that, we've got a draw with Norwich, a win at Wolves. We've got a draw with Chelsea. The last couple of games, not the best. We've had that loss to Juve, the loss in the Cup to Newcastle, but we need to pick up for the last few games in the season. I think we've got 8-9 games to go, and in terms of the Premier Division, we've got some European spots up for grabs. So 45 points, probably Nottingham Forest might be a little bit too far away, but certainly Newcastle and Man City are within touching distance. So that's what we'll be working on. In terms of the tactics, there you go. So a centre midfielder, attacking playmaker, ball winning midfielder behind Giwa, who we'll go through as we look at the players and how they developed, is now our club vice captain. That's because Silverio moved on, but he's getting a lot more playing time now, so he's become the vice captain, and hopefully he'll be with us for a long time as he develops. Further on, in terms of the squad itself then, that's our 25-man squad. Positionally, Kutlu and Duncan we've looked at before. Probably want to look at Marlon Harris. He's getting more and more game time now. He's a up to 5-star potential centre-half. 180 centimetres, so he's not the biggest in the world, but I think he's grown a few centimetres since he first came through. He's developing really nicely in terms of his developmental progress. Huge upward curve, upward trajectory. The more and more games he's got, he's benefited massively from the likes of de Havilland moving on, so he's getting more and more game time, but his attribute changes in his all-time now in a major, only slight in terms of the technical, but he was already quite technical. So really full of promise for Marlon Harris. He's played quite a few games now, 14 starts, 8 sub-appearances, 6.79 average, yet to get a goal, but I'm sure it's coming. Other players I want to look at is Jamiu Giwa, the defensive midfielder. Again, made him vice-captain, and you don't do that unless he's a really special player. And I mean, he is. I mean, in terms of his mental attributes, fantastic. Physical, maybe not where we would like him to be. He's 20, most of them are in double figures, and he's quite technical as well to go with it. Again, in terms of his developmental progress, onto an upward trajectory, the more and more game time he's getting. As we've gone back to a defensive midfielder, that game time's increased, and so has his developmental attributes. In terms of his stat changes in all time, again, major, slight in terms of the technical, but he was already quite a technical player to start with. So, rounding off really nicely, 20 years old. I think he'll be with us for the years to come. And that's Jamiu Giwa. Other players to maybe take a look at as we go through. Chris Fuchs, brilliant start. Got the goals towards the end of last season. He got a double in the FA Cup final against Tottenham. Got a lot of game time early at the start of this season. Again, he's played 14 Premier League games, 4 goals. You can see average ratings down the bottom, all in the positive, and his development's going really well as well. So in terms of his progress, huge upward trajectory, especially considering he's one of the younger players as well. I think he's already got himself to championship standards throughout the scout report. So he's had a slight in terms of his attributes, not much in terms of the physical, but he's still quite young. His mental games got a lot better just through playing a lot of games, but his technical's not gone up too much. However, I think you can see only 16 years old, 32 to 41 million. He is one of our prize assets. We can potentially slip him to up front or in just behind the front man in his support striker role. We'll consider that because we've got another player who's developing really well this season as well, which we'll move on to, and that is Lilafan Samana. Again, 22, similar kind of stat spread, although he's a lot more physical. Would be a flat winger, but we're moving into the higher up zone. He's playing more and more games. He's up to 10, 5 sub appearances, 6 goals. So he's cashing in with a bit more of an output in terms of his goals. 3-star Gustin 4 from Thailand. Again, his development progress. Good little steep upward turn, especially because he's getting more and more game time. He did come to us and say he was ready to play more games, and rather than lose him, I thought let's give him a chance, and he's repaid with some really good performances. So major in terms of his development. So he's going up rapidly. Whether he can go up anymore, I'm not sure. His determination's dropped by 10, which is significant and a little bit worrying. But while he's putting in good performances, we'll carry on with him. Up there, Benedict Joseph on the left-hand side. Again, 44 to 48 million, 23 years old. He's made that left-hand position his own. Again, 23 appearances, 3 goals. Really good rating, especially in the FA Cup. But again, in terms of his development and his progress, huge speaking and upward trajectory. Playing more and more games. He's forced Berat Ozar out the team, which is no mean feat. But again, he's on a major development. Lots of 5s within his physical. and it's much better now. You can see my massive Swedes out the way, but his development's been fantastic. So between the two wingers, we've had a lot of development. Rakim Primus, 34 appearances, 20 goals. That's quite a good return. Gary Liebert, he's had 11 and 6. He's getting more and more game time from the subs bench and deputising. So again, he's wanted by clubs. Leeds want to transfer him. He's 23. He's our reserve striker. I can't quite find the magic formula to get them both in the team together, but certainly as a rotational option, he's doing fantastically well. So that takes you through the players. Final thing to get through, and the thing that everybody likes to see, is the youth intake. So we'll have a quick look at that. And there we go. What seems somewhat underwhelming at the first glance is you've got one elite talent in Abraham Ogachukwu, an attacking midfielder on the right winger, although his natural position is up front. We'll look at him in a minute. And Paulo Hagen, deep line forward, striker centre. Again, 1 star gusting up to 3.5. Obviously, Abraham's up to a 5-star. And then after that, it's just good talents who are all gusted 3 at best. So I'm not really sure in terms of who we snap up from that. I don't think we'll take any of the decent talents. If I'm honest, I don't really want to take any of the good talents either, unless when they go through the week-long kind of trial period, any of them kind of stand out. I'd like another centre-half, but I don't think he's really got the promise in him. If he's only gusting to 2.5 stars, I'm not sure if it's worth taking that kind of a risk on them. Not sure. But what I did notice is Ogachukwu looks as if he could possibly emerge as one of the best players of his generation, and that is something I haven't seen particularly often. I can't recall if I've seen that in this save so far, but it certainly makes us think that maybe he is one of them really special players to come through, and he's going to be a long-term superstar for us. All that being said, we'll have a quick look. There's only 2 to look at, so we'll start with Paulo Hagen, the Irish deep line forward. Young striker with a jovial personality, not one I see too often. Comes deep to get the ball, which is good for a deep line forward. Not great in terms of the physicals, quite short, but he might be, as a partner, as a little and large combo, he's only 168, he's quite short. He's only 15, so he's got some room to grow. Mental game is pretty good. Technical, not amazing, but not terrible in terms of the position he plays in. I'd like a bit more pace normally with a striker, but again, there's some development opportunity in there. He's not great as an advanced forward, which is the position we play. He's lacking in some of the stats we want, although not massively. It's just probably the physical, which could get a little bit better. So maybe I've underestimated him a little bit. But Paulo Hagen to come in as a striker when we've got Rakim Primus, we've got Svinganidis coming back as well, we've got Liebert. Do we get Paulo Hagen in there? And then we've obviously got Abraham Ogachukwu, who we'll look at now. Striker, realist, quite good in terms of his physicals, no traits to start with. Mental, apart from his determination, nothing really standing out. Technique, passing's good, dribbling's good, but he's not got the first touch and finishing that I would expect from a striker. So can he be an advanced forward? He's a 1.5 star currently. I mean, he's going to take a couple of years out on loan to kind of get anywhere near that potential. I don't think he's one for the short term, but I'm really interested to see how he's going to develop, because it's not often you see that caveat with your youth intake as maybe one of the best players of his generation. But certainly snapping 2 up from that, probably not snapping too much more than that unless the scouts come back and say anything different. But my initial reaction is no. What I'll do is I'll go away and play the rest of the season. I'll come back in the next episode and we'll see where we finished up, hopefully into a European space, and then I think next season will probably be the last season we do the save. I mean, we've won a couple of trophies, we've won in Europe. I don't think we're going to win any trophies this year. We'll have one more go at the Premier League next season, and that'll probably round up the save. So once again, thanks for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed that as some kind of an update on the players we've got. Bit of an underwhelming intake, but with a jewel in the crown, maybe that's something that's going to develop long term. And again, let me know if you want to see what this season looks like, well, what this save looks like if I holiday out for 5 years, and see what the holiday manager does with the club. And until next time, enjoy football, enjoy saves. I'll see you soon.